How to lose weight during holiday season. This people holiday season is coming. Most people have lots of celebrations world over, no matter which nationality you are in. You are probably celebrating from the month of October to December every year. Actually, we have celebrations throughout the year. Just look at your malls. They get decorated during particular seasons. At least in India, they do. Even in UAE, not so much, but in India, oh my God, every month there is like some new celebration that is happening. Or look at the food industry messages that you receive around the ideas to celebrate. Like promotions like order now, you get 50% off if you order now. These are my Talabat messages on a regular basis, right? So, how do we deal with this sort of season of celebrations? Personally, as a Hindu and an Indian, we already started celebrating in the month of September. We had Ganesh Chaturthi, which is like it's like lots of people invite us for Ganesh festival, and we do have lots of sweets and eating out. Then came Onam. Now it's Navratri. Then Diwali is gonna come. Then Halloween is gonna come. And Christmas is gonna come. New Year's is gonna come. Apart from that, in UAE, there's gonna be a long weekends. There's, I think, 2 public holidays are coming, which will obviously be around weekends, so there will be long holidays. And if you have kids in school or you work in school, there is a midterm break which is coming in October for a week. People will visit us here during that time. And then there's a longer winter break in December. So people are going to visit again, or we're going to go somewhere for a vacation. Apart from that, like all of my family members' birthdays fall during this season. All. Like it's fascinating. So it's like those many birthday parties. There was this one time when I actually made a list of like the times I celebrate. So there was like I kid you not, every weekend I was doing something. So it was either inviting someone or going to someone's place or their birthday parties and the festivities. And if nothing else, is the weekend. Weekend in itself is a celebration. So there's just so much the society that puts in our head that we need to celebrate. But apart from that, there are like your own expectations that you need to celebrate, which is ongoing. So anyone who is trying to lose weight is really trying hard most of the times on the weekdays. They're managing their mind, and they're like not overeating, they're exercising. There's a discipline which is happening on the weekdays, but when these celebrations start, all that work goes off, right? And they're like celebrating and eating unconsciously, as if it's mindlessly eating. So most of them will actually lose weight during the week, and the weekend happens and they gain the weight, or this one birthday party happens and you gain the weight, or and like you lose momentum, right? Also, many of them will take longer to resume that healthy lifestyle after such an event. Many of them get stuck with like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening to me, and they just like keep eating continuously, in spite of like knowing that, okay, I am gaining weight, I'm not feeling good. The brain just doesn't kick in, and nobody starts to like just take action. Now, I want you to figure out a solution to be healthy, even when you're surrounded by these holidays. As trust me, people are not going to stop marketing you. Instagram will keep showing you feeds of people eating all the yummy food, especially if that's what your content looks like. You will also not want to lose your friendships, right? Like someone like me who always had social anxiety, when I decided to lose weight, I was like, if I go to meet people, I'm just gonna eat a lot of like rubbish food. Like when I used to be at work, there would be all these parties, office parties, where there will be donuts and cupcakes and all sort of like refined celebratory party foods. And because I was socially anxious, I was like, oh yeah, I don't want to do this anyway. Like I don't want to see people anyway, because I'm losing weight. So it came like I just settled into that identity and like sort of alienated myself when it came to socialization. This I realized later on while I tried to grow my own coaching business. Like my brain was just constantly trying to like not socialize, not engage with people. So people can take like use any reason, like twist any reason to lose weight. Like in my case, I was like, yeah, excellent, let's not have any friendships. But most people want to maintain friendships and they are willing to sabotage their healthy eating to maintain those friendships, and we don't want to lose those friendships, so we need to figure out ways to do that. um, Apart from that, we are in a day and age where these party foods are always going to be around you. So unless you become broke or someone takes away your credit card and takes away your access to money, you are always going to be subjected to be exposed to these foods. These foods, like your friends would be eating it, your family would be eating it, restaurants would be making it, they will send you messages, you will be invited to parties. So all of this is going to happen. People are going to keep on having parties, and because you're a human, you will get invited or you will throw parties yourself. So the foods are going to be always around. So they are not going to disappear. So most of the time when the holiday season starts, most of the people, they just check out completely. Like so many clients, when I'm like trying to do a launch and like trying to bring in more people in my coaching, like where I coach them, so many of them will tell me that, you know what, now there is this thing happening, I'm going to go home on vacation and then I'll come back and then I'll start. And they never come back and they never start and they just keep gaining weight. They finally have to go to doctors to get treated, right? So many of the people just check out completely from managing their mind around their health. And this is because they don't know how to do that, like how to handle this sort of festive seasons, right? This is a time of the year which is really hard for many people, especially if you are working on a health goal. But worry not. You are someone who knows how to do hard things, and you just have to like remind yourself that, find evidence of all the hard things that you have done, and this is nothing. So let's explore that, right? Let's find out strategies of like how to figure out a way to lose weight during the holiday season. And there are a few things that I would like to highlight. um, as I said, that it's going to be hard. It's not going to be easy. There's no easy way of managing your mind around food when it comes to holiday season. You might have to try different things that will be good enough for you. You will have to redefine what you do around holidays. So the first thing I want to talk about is motivation. As I see, everyone suddenly gets motivated in January because they do this New Year's resolution. They have partied so hard for the whole quarter that they will suddenly go on diets and they will join gyms, and all of a sudden they are highly motivated because of the New Year reset. Now, motivation is a feeling which comes from our thinking. There are sentences in our mind which generate motivation. It is there for some time in January, but I always tell my clients, don't wait for motivation ever. Like, yes, it comes and we feel inspired to do something, and then the moment we decide to do something, it disappears. It's like nowhere found, crickets. So by default, you will not be motivated to do something which is hard, which is like managing your mind around this season, right? Or do anything uncomfortable. Our brains are designed to stay in that motivational triad where everything is easy, it should be pleasurable, and it should be pain free. And of course, like holiday season and you are trying to say no to people is not going to be easy, right? So our default thinking is always going to be like, I'll start after the vacation, I'll start in January, or I don't want to miss out on all the party foods. Like, I'm going to eat anyway tomorrow at the party, so let me like eat today as well. Or sometimes it's just like sheer rebellion, like I don't want to. I don't want to, especially in the evenings and nighttime. Or there will be always, my favorite is to be like, I'll exercise tomorrow, so let me eat today. And then tomorrow comes, I don't exercise. And then I'm like stuck with all this guilt and shame. And the last one is like, I just need this now. I just need it. I just need it. It's the urgency to have those foods is like so strong. We have to be watchful of what's going on in our minds. So we are talking about if we keep doing this, if we keep searching for motivation, we're talking about 3 months long refusal to eat mindfully. You have no idea how much inflammation that kind of food, that kind of excess food is producing on your cells, and how much hormonal imbalance it's perpetuating. Apart from that, it's not like your critical mind has checked out. She's not. She's watching everything. She comes out with slamming attacks in the form of shame, guilt, and regret the next morning, or sometimes while eating something that you shouldn't be eating as per you, right? So she knows in somewhere in the corner of your mind that you can do better. And unfortunately, she has a very um, crude way of showing it, right? Like she will come up with horrible sentences like, "You can't do it. You're pathetic. You don't. You're good for nothing." All of those sort of nonsense, which generate really horrible feelings in your body, feelings like hopelessness and despair. And guess, when you feel that hopeless, how do you feel better? You go to food, some more. So all of that negative thinking, all of that critical, judgmental thinking is unnecessary, and it's optional. And we can activate our highest brain, who can observe and think about our thinking and strategize to prepare us for these holidays. So that brain would come up with sentences like, "Listen, it's hard, we know it, but we can do hard things." Like, I use this sentence so often intentionally because I have done really hard things. As a doctor, it was not easy for me to read. Let me just be honest. I used to not read newspapers. Like, I'm not someone into politics because I never used to read newspapers. The reason why I used to never read newspaper because I don't like reading. Like, it's really uncomfortable for me to read. And yet, I became a doctor. You know how much I had to push myself through to understand, to focus, to read, to memorize, and read again and memorize again. I had to like push myself so much just to like not fail in my college, right? So I know I can do hard things. Like, I stayed up all night for for years, 15 years. I was doing that. Like at least once or twice a week. I have burnt myself out during the pandemic. So I know I can do hard things. And similarly, you would have a long list of things that you know you can do, which no one else has done. So use that intention, use that belief that I can do hard things as like a trophy, as like something you're confident in doing, right? Apart from that, you can always come up with sentences like, "I can celebrate with my people without overeating or binging." And this was like a big one for me because, like, especially if because I have social anxiety, because it's really uncomfortable for me to be around people. I would be like, "Oh, is there food?" I will go to the food and I will just be like eating, like while talking to people. Like, there is always food in my mouth because it's so uncomfortable, right? But if I decide ahead of time, no, listen, we're not going to do that. We're not going to drink. We're just going to like have a green tea and we're going to keep sipping on it. We're going to have some cool water or sparkling water and talk, like continue talking without eating, and eat only when it's mealtime, not just keep snacking mindlessly. So that is an intentional belief which I practice ahead of time. Or you can come up with like sentences like, "I can prepare ahead of time how I will eat," the way I said right now. Or I can figure out ways to deal with this holiday season. My healthy future self already handles these seasons with ease. So think about it. It's like a trip where you imagine yourself, like say 5 years from now or 10 years from now, and she's super healthy. How does she eat? Like, if I were to look at my past 10-year self, like right now is 2024, like 2014 version of me. The 2014 version of me was super overweight. She was eating mindlessly. She was smoking. She was drinking. She was binge watching television. She had like no clue. She would just go to work and come back and like just binge. It was like miserable. And I'm her future self right now. I'm super healthy. I don't binge eat, rarely. And whenever I do binge eat, I'm like, "Oh my god, what happened? Why did that happen?" Like, I have so much compassion for because anytime you have binged, that means something bad has happened emotionally, that you like completely surrendered to food. So that's my future self, right? She's already like, she doesn't overeat, she's very good at picking up like what's working for her, what's not working for her, like in time. Like I don't feel bloated after I've eaten, I like start catching it before time. I don't snack anymore. I have very less sugar. Compare. I have whole foods. Like I have a banana every day. I have like a good bowel movement. Like so much of my future self. I sleep every night. I meditate. I left a profession which used to burn me out, which I didn't enjoy really. So, like a lot of amazing things my future self has already achieved, right? So, ask your future self who has like achieved those things, like how is she handling it? So you can get some wisdom from there. So when we think this way, like we're thinking out of the box, out of your usual default thinking, we generate feelings like courage, right? Like when you're thinking like I can do hard things, you're practicing courage, or you're getting curious because you're thinking, you're wondering, how can I not eat? Like how can I strategize for the next day's food, or like have clarity in like, okay, this is exactly what I'm gonna do. We also become strategic and solution focused and creative and innovative. Like anytime I would host a party, like I would ensure I have like some really good health foods, like for snacks. Like there would be roasted nuts, there would be like some good cheeses, there'll be fruits, instead of just like those fried snacks. So when we think this way, we generate all these amazing feelings. And you will notice yourself that you're sacrificing things without much drama, and you will prioritize differently. So then we come to the next thing, right? Like how do we overcome these obstacles, where you're asking yourself that it's holiday season is going to pose a lot of obstacles to you specifically, especially because you have PCOS, not your parents, not your husband, not your sister. Okay, your sisters might have it, but I have had clients whose sisters also don't have it. Like it's just them, and then they feel so like it's just me, I don't know what's wrong with me. So these obstacles, these seasons, these people eating in front of you will always be around until you change it. Now, many students change cities. Many women get married and go to another house. Many people move regularly. But seasons and celebrations will follow you wherever you go. So, even if you change your religion, your habit to celebrate will not change, as it's when we socially connect with humans. So to add fuel to fire, you have PCOS, which means your body can't handle excess refined carbs. It will get inflamed and your condition will not get better. And I realized this, that I can be stuck in the same pattern every year around the festive seasons, but there has to be a way to break it, interrupt this pattern. So I want to offer you that our habit brain will keep us doing what we do every festive season, and that will keep our PCOS from reversing. And we will have to engage that strategic prefrontal cortex brain of ours to come up with solutions. I personally help my clients come up with their individualistic solution. Everyone is unique, and yet there are some common themes we have. So I can always share those things here, but like if you want to have an individual solution to your own needs, you need to consider getting coached by me. So the way I help my clients is by helping them engage their prefrontal cortex, their highest brain. Now, for me to help them, I'm not in their habit brain, right? Like I'm coming from my highest brain, and I can do that as I'm not judging my clients, I'm not shaming them, I'm holding space for them because I have held that space for myself. There was another coach who held that space for me. So whatever you are as a human being going through emotionally, I'm not going through, or probably I used to go through, I used to have that drama, but I have overcome it somehow with the coaching tools, and I can help my clients find thoughtful solutions to their problems because I have done that for myself. So you have that prefrontal cortex as well. You can access it too, provided you're not judging yourself harshly. So we need to engage that curious part, and we need to ask ourselves questions. Questions like, this one is a good one. How many parties are we going to attend this quarter? How can we block out some times to prepare for these events? Can I allow myself to enjoy the party only on those days instead of like the whole months or the whole quarter? What are the obstacles, the biggest obstacles during these celebrations, and what are my strategic solutions for them? Can I say no to people with love? Now, these are the questions which I just said, and you can pause the video or you can bookmark it somehow, and you need to answer them. Give yourself focused time where nobody's going to distract you, and sit with your brain and answer these questions. Now, the biggest obstacles people face during these times are that their loved ones have prepared this yummy food and they wish that you keep eating it. And it's not that you don't love it, you don't want to overeat it, right? The only way to solve for that is by saying no with love. Stay there, continue celebrating with them, continue engaging with them, but keep saying no if you really don't want it. It's not on your plan. Now, you have to sometimes say no to these people 15 times before they get a hint and they stop offering. That's the only way some of these people know how to love. So spend time with them, chatting and loving them, showing them that you still love them without eating that food. Now, the next thing many of my clients will face or struggle with is because they're thinking there is a right time to lose weight, and they're like actually thinking January is the time when I'm going to start. Now, you can wait for that perfect scenario in January, in your perfect life, in your perfect situations, like after a vacation or after like Christmas or New Year's, or even like for some of us, it would be some students, it would be like after an exam, or after I join this new job, or after I settle in this new job or in this new country. Let me tell you, that perfect day is never going to come, because until you reach that perfect day, you have already overeaten and gained a lot of weight, like lot more weight, or have not lost weight. You have just like perpetuated those habits. And let me ask you, has that ever happened till date, that you started on the perfect time and you lost it? And suppose if that actually happened, that's not happening right now, is it? Like, because you have reverted back to your old habits. So it's always an illusion that you're chasing, that there is a perfect time when you can start. So I would really ask you to stop bullshitting yourself, because it's a lie. There is no perfect time. Just start. Like, this is weight loss. This is managing your mind around food. You eat daily, at least 3-4 times a day. And you have an opportunity to start cleaning up your habits in your next meal, instead of just waiting for like January to come, right? So start preparing for the holidays like your life depends on it, because literally your emotional and physical life depends on your preparation for these holidays. So these holidays are coming every year. People are obsessed with celebrations, and no one really cares about your PCOS reversal. They're all seeking pleasure in those holiday foods, and no one genuinely cares about what you are going through. And the only person who can care about all that is you. Like, even if you want to work with me, if I'm busy somewhere, I might not be even there for you, right? But I have given you these exercises, these questions to ask yourself. You can pause this video and really answer those questions. Like, how do I prepare myself for this thing? The next thing that I would offer you as a solution to losing weight in the holiday season is like getting a perspective shift. Now, you can always hire me as your coach, and I can give you an individual, different perspective to your situation, as I'm a trained coach. I know all the alternate belief systems. Like, most of the time, most people I know are social people. They love to please people, and they love to connect with people, and I'm asocial. So for me, it's like a no-brainer. Like, I wouldn't do that. So that just shows me that, okay, this is an optional belief. They can also have that. It's just because I have this belief, you can have that belief too. And like, so that's what, as a coach, I'm like so well trained to find out like if it's a belief system which is optional. So, but if you want to learn just from the podcast, notice how you think, or anytime you think that, oh, I didn't realize that that was an option, or can I do that? And all of that is basically a different perspective. Like, it's just different sentences, like where your brain would be like, oh, I can't do this. This is impossible. But then when I say, no, you can do hard things. I can do hard things. You have evidence of doing hard things. When was the last time you did something so hard? And when the client actually answers that, they realize, oh, they can do this, right? So you need to get a different perspective. Now, apart from that, whenever you're trying to lose weight during a holiday season, do not look at your past for support. Just don't. Especially if you've never lost weight during holidays in your past, don't go there. Your past has nothing but failed attempts and guilt from all that holiday eating. That past will bring in doubt. We can't have that. We are doing something new here. We can't start with the belief that I can't do this as I never did it. You can't. It will never work. Like, our thoughts really create our results. And if you get stuck in your past thinking where you were believing that I can't do this, you will not be able to do it, because our thoughts really create our reality. And you would have to, like, if you have never been underweight, or sorry, normal weight, you have always been overweight, you definitely can't go to your past, right? Because we think that it has never happened to me in past, so how can I do it? And you have to try. You have to try something else, right? And that trying something else will come from that belief that, I think I can do something about it. So instead, say things like, I can change my past right now. This year it's going to be different, as I will decide for it to be different. And you can have a say in making those decisions, because these are your decisions. You don't have to wait for your husband to approve of you, or you don't have to wait for your mom, dad to approve of you. Decisions are nothing but just you planning how it's going to be different, right? So predicting the obstacles and strategizing. So if you are suppose going to a party and you have already decided that I'm just going to have a meal and not a snack, so you get to decide, and like, okay, they are going to make offers, and I'm going to just tell them that, listen, I'm just going to have a meal. Like, I'm going to save up my appetite till it's meal time. Till that time, I'll just have some plain water or sparkling water, or carry your own, right? So that is the power of predicting obstacles and strategizing. Also, don't go to your past and find evidence of how you failed, but find out what was actually getting in your way. Like, think about the last holiday party you were in and what were the struggles. Like, your brain will remember it overall, especially if it was a bit painful. So remember it and think about how would you plan for that specific situation, because that same thing might happen again. The next thing I would offer you as a way to lose weight during holiday season is that not everyone might want to lose weight during the holidays. But we all go so crazy around holidays and food that we'll end up gaining some extra, right? Now we can just normalize eating during these parties in the season. Like Diwali for me is sweets, just on day one actually. And then I have this remaining sweets, which I literally used to share with no one, because I used to be like, oh no, I'm gonna keep it all for myself and eat it slowly, slowly till it's over. Because I used to think, that this is my home food. So if I give it to someone else, I don't get that feeling of being home, because I live here as an expat, right? I was so far away from home that Diwali sweets meant coming home for me. But I don't have to do that anymore, because home is where my heart is. Wherever I am, that's my home. Wherever my mind is, that's my home. So it's just memories. And even if like my parents came here or I went to India, I would still continue eating like this. And it's a bit weird. So it doesn't really mean anything, right? Like, I've lived here in this country for almost 15 years, and this is my home now. And I've changed locations where I've stayed so many years, but the only constant factor which has remained is me, which is my home, right? My mind. So you can, like, I started giving away my Diwali sweets with my loved ones, like the Indian friends that I have, or like even I've given my Diwali sweets to my Korean friends also. And I don't hold on to it. I'm like, you enjoy this exotic delicacy that we have. And it feels very heavy to give away my sweets, which I got for myself. And my husband will always like, why did you give it away? I wanted it. But I'm like, no, one day is good enough. Let them have it. Or just throw a party and then let everyone have that. So you can explore such secrets behind those holiday binges in private coaching as well, where my clients, like for me, it took a long time to realize that I was finding solace in those Diwali sweets, and It was just like I just want it for myself, right? Similarly, my clients feel very safe in sharing the secrets behind all these holiday binges. So that is possible for you to come and explore on a session with me, like what is that holiday binge actually holding true for you. The next thing around how to lose weight during holiday season is like strategize a way to deal with people who push food on you. Sometimes they literally push food in your mouth, like my husband. He will just like keep on feeding. And how do you deal with them? Now, maybe you could say no to them on a usual day-to-day routine, but during holidays it just is like there are like so many of them. Now we want to say no to them politely without being a bitch. That is something which is very important. Like you can say no to people with love. Like how would you say no to your kids, right? Like they're like saying it, mama, have it, have it, have it. You're like, no, I love you a lot, but I'm not gonna have it. So it's like I love you, but it's a no, that sort of thing. And it's a skill to say no to people in a loving way, and you have to get started with it. The next thing is holidays can be hard as it's not your routine. It's not your usual way of living life, right? Like you probably have dialed down that at a very automatic level of like how to eat and sleep, but our brain will do all this, which is basically like if you go into this new routine, it will do this all or nothing or black and white thinking. So it will like start making you think like, oh, if you couldn't say no to people, that means you can't do this, so let's just give up, right? So imagine that's not what we want to do. We don't want to step into like that, I can't do this anymore, because every day you get a reset every 24 hours, I like to say. So like imagine if you were driving normally on the roads in UAE at 100 kilometers per hour, but during holiday season, like it looks like you're driving through Mustafa where there are like hidden radars and you can anytime be get like flashed even at a pedestrian crossing where you are like slightly close to the zebra crossing. So you have to slow down during these seasons to like, because your routine has changed. So like be very watchful and observant of how you behave and how you eat during these times, and just gather data, right? Apart from this, make a list of all the emotional triggers during your holidays. Like in my case, like I generally hate my birthdays. Like I just have this belief that it's like something shitty is gonna happen. Someone is gonna disappoint me, or I'm gonna be disappointed somehow, and my brain will make it true, even when all my loved ones are giving me all these amazing things, singing songs for me, getting me gifts that I wanted. Even then my brain will be like, no, they're going to disappoint me somehow. So I have to keep a close eye on that sort of pattern recreating itself, and I like allow myself that space, soothe myself without going to food for it. For some of us, we might worry about during this holiday season, we might really worry about what others would think, where you don't care much about these things on other days, but during holidays it's somehow a weird expectation that we have from each others. So we care about suddenly what they might think, what I'm wearing, what he's wearing, or what kind of gift we got, whether they liked my hospitality, whether they took offense with anything. Know that you will be emotionally triggered, and you will have a way to comfort yourself and still have your usual foods without like comforting yourself with like binge eating, right? So figure out ways to comfort yourself without food as well. Apart from this, you might want to consider setting up realistic weight loss goals or weight gain goals because many times people don't lose weight and they might gain like some, right? And you can tell yourself like, yes, I might gain 1 or 2 kilos in this season, but like 5 to 6 kilos not acceptable. So like you can tell yourself like 1 or 2 kilos is okay. Once I that's this season is over and like there are less celebrations, I might go back to my routine. Apart from this number goal, you might just look at the behavior goal, right? Like no snacking. Like if you look into it, like I'm not gonna mindlessly eat around people. Like you can keep that as a goal. Now, apart from this, do not ever do that given up eating, right? Like that's like the most hopeless way of binge eating, where you have like lost full hope in whatever is going on in your mind, and where you have no hope and you just eat as if there's no tomorrow. Now try to catch this in real time, and tell yourself gently to step away from food. This give up eating comes only when you have been super harsh to yourself. Where so you have spotted, like your brain has seen some discrepancy, you have not followed something, and it's like started the attack internally. She's coming to attack, and that's when you have like sort of given up and just start eating. So interrupt that. We are always going to have tough days and not so tough days. We want to not be so hard on ourselves when it is tough, and that given up eating can spot that. So have lots of compassion for yourself when that happens, and investigate why that happened. Apart from that, there is no best time to lose weight. In fact, the best time to lose weight is during some of the most stressful times, because it forces you to take care of yourself in new ways. Lastly, it might seem very lonely, very, very lonely to do this weight loss work during holidays. You might think you're the only one who is not allowed to eat as much as she wants. And now we don't know what is going on in these other people's eat heads while they're eating, but you think you're the only one suffering through this. So if that was you, or that is you, and you're feeling very lonely, holidays are a perfect time to get that sort of human support in the form of coaching. So please consider booking that free consultation with me to check if you want to consider mindset coaching in your PCOS habits. All right, my friend, I hope you prepare yourself for the upcoming holiday seasons, and I'll see you next week. Bye bye.